Hey, night owls and history buffs, tonight we're diving into the grim life of Adolf Hitler's nightmare. You're gone, Führer, but your mess lingers. We're digging through the rubble to find out, from Nuremberg to the Berlin Wall's fall. It's dark, heavy, and perfect for your 2 a.m. binge. Love raw history? Smash that like, subscribe, and comment. Where are you watching from, and what's the time? I'm dying to know. It's really interest for me to see. Anyway, let's roll. You wake up, and the universe has pulled the ultimate prank. Your eyes snap open to a world that smells like cow dung and broken dreams. Your body tiny and frail, swaddled in a scratchy blanket. You're not in your 21st century bed, doom-scrolling X for spicy takes. No, you're in a creaky cradle in Braunau am Inn, Austria, 1889, and you're Adolf freaking Hitler. Yup, that guy. Congrats, champ. You've been isekai'd into history's biggest walking disaster. No save point, no cheat codes, just you and a destiny bleaker than a Reddit thread at 3 a.m. The room's dim, lit by an oil lamp, flickering like it's got stage fright. Your mother, Clara, hovers nearby, humming a lullaby that's sweet but heavy with exhaustion. She's got that "I'd fix you with a hug and therapy if it existed" energy, her eyes soft but shadowed by worry. Your father, Alois, is a different beast, a customs official with a moustache like an angry hedgehog and a temper that could sour milk. He's yelling about something already, probably the price of beer or your audacity to exist. You're a baby, barely able to flop your head around, but you already know this guy's going to make your life a medieval-level misery. Fast forward a few years and you're a scrawny kid dodging Alois's fists like they're dodgeballs in a nightmare gym class. His hobbies include collecting furniture like it's rare Pokemon cards, screaming at you for breathing, and crushing your dreams like they're bugs under his boot. You want to be an artist, sketching bridges and buildings on scraps of paper, your hands smudged with charcoal. An artist? Alois barks, his laugh like a rusty chainsaw. You'll be a Clark boy. Like me? His words hit harder than his hands, and you learn to bottle your rage like it's artisanal wine. Clara tries to soften the blows, patching your clothes and sneaking you extra bread, but she's fighting a losing war. You're awkward, twitchy, with a stare that makes other kids edge away like you're a haunted doll. School's a battlefield. Teachers drone about math while you doodle Gothic arches and dream of a Germany that's strong, united, not this fractured Austro-Hungarian mess. You're 10, muttering about the fatherland like it's your emotional support blanket. The other boys call you weird. You call them idiots. Fair trade. By 13, Alois keels over, probably from spite or a bratwurst-fueled heart attack. You don't cry, you feel free, like a caged bird with a broken wing but a dream of flying. Clara's still there, frail and fading, begging you to be good. You nod, but your mind's already in Vienna, where art schools and big dreams wait. You're 16 when you pack a bag, stuff your mother's savings in your pocket, and hop a train to the big city. You're going to be an artist. You're going to be somebody. Spoiler. The universe is about to yeet your dreams into a shredder. Vienna's a glittering slap to the face. The city's alive, cafes buzz with intellectuals, artists paint weird swirls you don't get, and the streets hum with possibility. But you? You're a nobody with a sketchbook and a grudge the size of a small planet. You apply to the Academy of Fine Arts, pouring your soul into drawings of buildings that look like fairy tale castles. The examiners take one look and laugh. Technically deficient, they say. Figures lack life. They suggest architecture, but you'd need a high school diploma and you ditched that noise years ago. You try again the next year, same result. Your dreams aren't just crushed, they're pulverized, salted, and fed to pigeons. So you end up in a flophouse, a grimy pit where men cough up their lungs and their hopes. You paint postcards, boring watercolors of Viennese landmarks, and sell them to tourists for pennies. At night, you read newspapers, their ink smudging your fingers, and listen to drunks rant about cultural decay. They blame Jews, foreigners, the government. You nod, your anger simmering like a pot left on the stove too long.
It's not your fault you're here, you tell yourself. It's their fault, whoever they are.
You're not just a failed artist, you're a misunderstood genius, and the world's gonna regret not seeing it. It's 1908 and you're 19, a walking grudge in a coat so patched, it's basically performance art. Vienna's a carnival of culture, Klimt's painting gold-draped ladies, Freud's dissecting minds in smoky cafes, and you're out here hawking postcard watercolors to tourists who buy them out of pity. Your flophouse is a petri dish of despair, full of men who smell like cheap wine and tuberculosis. You're not living, you're surviving, and barely. Your diet's stale bread and rage, your hobbies muttering to pigeons and glaring at anyone who looks too happy. Newspapers are your gospel now. You read them obsessively, memorizing every grievance, every slight against Germany. The Austro-Hungarian Empire's a mess. Too many ethnicities, too many languages, not enough German-ness. You start seeing enemies everywhere. Jewish merchants thriving, Marxists preaching equality, capitalists hoarding wealth. They're the problem, you decide. Not you, never you. Your poverty's their fault, your rejection's their conspiracy. You're not paranoid, you're woke, 1889 style. You haunt coffee houses, not for coffee, you can't afford it, but for warmth and eavesdropping. Intellectuals debate socialism, you scoff. Artists rave about cubism, you roll your eyes. You're above them, even if your shoes have holes and your paintings look like a drunk architect's fever dream. You scribble manifestos in your notebook, angry fragments about a pure Germany, a strong Germany, a Germany that doesn't spit on guys like you. They're not coherent, but they're yours, and that's enough. Clara dies in 1907 and you're 18, kneeling by her grave. The tears don't come, you feel cheated, like the world yanked away the one person who didn't hate you. You wander Vienna's streets, your coat threadbare, your stomach growling. The city's beauty mocks you, Jewish shops bustle, artists succeed, and you're a ghost with a paintbrush. You read pamphlets about pan-German nationalism, racial purity, a glorious fatherland. They're matches to your kindling, and your rage takes shape. You're not just angry, you're certain. Certain you're destined for greatness. Certain the world needs fixing, and you're the guy with the hammer. By 1910, you're 21, and Vienna's beaten you down to a husk. You're broke, hungry, and starting to sound like the drunks you used when you had no choice to listen to. You blame Jews for the economy, Marxists for the chaos, foreigners for existing. Your ideas aren't new, but they're loud. and they're yours. You moved to Munich in 1913, hoping for a fresh start, but you're still the same angry nobody, just in a different city. You paint more postcards, sleep in more flophouses, and rant to anyone who'll listen, mostly pigeons still. Then 1914. War breaks out, and it's like the universe finally noticed you. Austria-Hungary takes one look at your scrawny frame and questionable loyalty and says, hard pass. But Germany? Germany says, sure, why not? You join the Bavarian army, and for the first time, you feel alive. The trenches are hell, mud, blood, the scream of shells, but you're good at this. You run messages through gunfire, boots sinking into mire. You're wounded, gassed, decorated. You don't fear death, you fear being useless. For once you belong to Germany, to something bigger than your grudges. It's 1918 and the world's falling apart faster than your self-esteem in Vienna. You're 29, lying in a hospital bed, eyes burning from mustard gas, your dreams of German glory dissolving like sugar in a rainstorm. The Great War's over, and Germany lost. The armistice feels like a knife in the back. Politicians, Jews, communists, all conspiring to sell out the fatherland, or so you tell yourself. You can't accept the war was pointless, that your suffering meant nothing, so you cling to the stab-in-the-back myth like it's a life raft in a sea of despair. You're discharged, still twitchy, still angry, and you limp back to Munich, a city of rubble and resentment. You're broke, your uniform's all you own, and your only friends are the voices in your head screaming about revenge. You drift into beer halls where veterans and drifters like you shout about betrayal over cheap ale. You find the German Workers' Party, a ragtag bunch of nobodies with grudges bigger than their bank accounts. You join them not for their platform, but because they hate the same things you do. Jews, Marxists, the Treaty of Versailles. You start speaking at their meetings and it's rough. Your voice is shrill, your hands shake, but you've got passion, and passion's a great substitute for talent. You rant about Germany's humiliation, about enemies within and without. The crowds, 10, then 50, then hundreds, lean forward, hooked. You learn to work a room, to make your anger their anger. You pound tables, wave your arms, scream about redemption. It's not a speech, it's a tantrum with a microphone. By 1920, you're 31, and you're not just a member, you're the star. You rename the party the National Socialist German Workers' Party, Nazis for short, catchy, like a jingle for a cult. You design a flag, red field, black swastika, stark and sharp. It's not a symbol, it's a warning. You start wearing a brown shirt, less because it's stylish and more because it's cheap. You're not rich, but you're loud. And in a Germany, this broken loud is enough. You're not alone anymore. You've got followers, disillusioned veterans, angry workers, kids who think you're edgy. You form the SA, the Sturmabteilung, which is German for guys who punch communists and break chairs. They're your muscle, your hype men, your goons in matching armbands. You're not running a political party. You're building a fandom, one desperate loser at a time. In 1923, you're 34, and you decide it's time to go big or go home. You stage the beer hall putsch, a half-baked coup to seize Munich. It's a disaster. Shots fired, men dead, you arrested. You're thrown in jail, but prison's a gift. You dictate Mein Kampf, a 700-page rant that's half autobiography, half fever dream. You spew hatred for Jews, communists, democracy itself, calling for a pure Germany that bends to your will. It's not a book, it's a tantrum in hardcover. You're released in 1924, and Germany's a mess. Hyperinflation's so bad people burn money for warmth. A loaf of bread costs 1 billion marks, and hope's a luxury nobody can afford. You start speaking again, beer halls, then theatres, then bigger venues. Your voice is a weapon, your words a virus. You promise jobs, pride, revenge. The crowds don't just listen, they worship. You're not a politician, you're a prophet for the pissed off. It's 1925 and you're 36, a professional yeller with a cult following and a book nobody's buying. Mein Kampf sits on shelves like a cursed artifact, but give it time, it'll spread like a bad rash. Germany's still a train wreck, hyperinflation's calmed down, but the economy's wobbling like a drunk tightrope walker. People are broke, angry, and looking for someone to blame. You're their guy, pointing fingers like a conspiracy theorist on a bender. You hit the road, speaking in every beer hall and barn that'll have you. Your speeches are less policy, more apocalypse. Germany's been betrayed, you scream, by Jews, communists, and politicians too spineless to fight. You promise to make Germany great again, but in louder, scarier German. The crowds eat it up like schnitzel at Oktoberfest. You're not just a speaker, you're a performance artist, staging rallies with banners and torches like you're directing a Wagner opera for angry drunks. The Reichstag's a mess. Communists, centrists, conservatives all squabbling like kids fighting over the last cookie. You're the loudest kid in the room, and loud gets attention. By 1929, the stock market crashes, and Germany's economy tanks harder than your art school dreams. Unemployment soars, desperation spikes, and you're there, shouting answers that aren't good, aren't right, but are loud. You blame the usual suspects, Jews, foreigners, the Versailles Treaty, and people nod because it's easier to hate than to think. Your party's growing, and so's your ego. You're 40, and you've got a uniform now, brown shirt, armband, the works. You look like a fascist cosplayer, but it works. The SA's bigger, meaner, breaking heads and windows with equal enthusiasm. You're not just a movement, you're a brand, complete with a logo and a salute that screams, "I'm compensating for something." In 1933, the conservative elites, thinking they can control you, hand you the keys to the kingdom. You're 44, and you're Chancellor of Germany. You, the guy who couldn't get into art school, who sold postcards to survive, who lived in a flop house. You're running a nation and you don't waste time. The Reichstag burns, conveniently right after you take office. You blame the communists, declare an emergency, and democracy's gone faster than a vegan at a butcher shop. You pass the Enabling Act, which basically says, "I do what I want forever." Political opponents vanish, some to jails, some to graves. Your party's the only party. Your voice is the only voice. You're not a chancellor, you're a dictator, and it's not even been a year. You rebuild Germany in your image. Factories hum, highways stretch across the land. The military grows in secret. You pull out of the League of Nations, remilitarize the Rhineland, and dare the world to stop you. They don't. Britain appeases, France flinches, and you grin like a kid who stole the teacher's answer key. It's 1935 and you're 46, strutting around like you invented Germany. You're not just Chancellor, you're the Führer, a title that screams, "I'm a big deal and don't you forget it." Germany's your canvas, and you're painting it with tanks, highways, and a propaganda machine that'd make modern influencers jealous. The economy's picking up, not because you're a genius, but because you're pumping money into infrastructure and rearmament like it's going out of style. People cheer. Their bellies are full, their pride's restored, and nobody they know has been arrested. Yet. Your rallies are pure spectacle. Banners, torches, thousands chanting your name like you're a rock star with a swastika. You're not governing, you're performing, and the crowd's eating it up. You're a one-man propaganda film, screaming about a glorious past that probably never existed. Your speeches aren't speeches, they're religious revivals for the resentful, with you as the hate-fueled preacher. Then come the Nuremberg laws. You strip Jews of citizenship, ban intermarriage, and codify your hatred into law. It's not enough to hate, you need the world to know its policy. Jewish shops are boycotted, their lives dismantled. You call it protecting Germany. The world calls it a warning, but nobody stops you. In 1938, Kristallnacht hits. Synagogues burn, shops are smashed, blood stains the streets. Your goons, in their snappy armbands, call it justice. The world calls it horror, and you notice nobody does anything about it. You're pushing boundaries now, literally. Austria's yours in 1938, no fight, just tanks and a parade like you're a conquering hero. The Sudetenland follows, then Czechoslovakia. You promise peace, sign treaties, and lie through your teeth. Britain's Chamberlain waves a paper shouting, "Peace in our time," while you're already planning your next move. You're a toddler, swearing he didn't eat the cookies, crumbs all over your face. By 1939, you're 50, and you're unstoppable. You sign a pact with Stalin, his mustache almost as intense as yours, and split Poland like a bratwurst. You invade, and Blitzkrieg is born. Tanks scream, planes drop hell, and your army moves like a machine. Britain and France finally declare war, but you're ready. You've spent years building your war machine, and now it's go time. You're not just a dictator, you're a conductor, baton in one hand, blood on the other. It's 1940 and you're 51, standing in Paris with a smirk that could curdle wine. The Eiffel Tower looms behind you, France is crushed, Poland split, Denmark and Norway fell before breakfast. Britain's wobbling across the channel, stiff upper lip and all. You're on top of the world, not figuratively, literally. You're the guy who knocked over the Monopoly board and declared himself God, banker, and dictator in one go. Germany's not just a country, it's your fan club, complete with statues and commemorative plates. Your armies are rolling across Europe like unpaid interns in jackboots, efficient, overworked, disposable. Your machine works for now. You believe this is your destiny, the glorious rebirth of a German empire, only with more tanks and that iconic mustache you're still rocking. You're not just winning, you're performing victory. Every conquest a middle finger to the world that rejected you. But you're a control freak who doesn't know when to quit. You look at the map and see Russia. Napoleon tried it. Winter ate him alive. You think, I'm different. Operation Barbarossa kicks off in 1941, the largest invasion in history. Millions of soldiers march into the Soviet Union, expecting Moscow by Christmas. You don't pack winter coats. Why bother? You're that confident? Spoiler, you're not in Moscow by Christmas. Your troops are freezing, eating their boots, learning why vodka's a food group. The Soviets fight back, relentless, unending. You underestimated Stalin, winter, and basic logistics. Your generals start side-eyeing you, but you're too busy drawing lines on maps to notice. Back home, the fantasy's cracking. British planes bomb Berlin, lighting cities like grim birthday cakes. Factories strain, the draft digs deeper, and people whisper. Not loudly, your secret police make sure of that, but the silence is tense. You declare war on the US because nothing says smart move, like poking the guy with the biggest economy and a fetish for punching fascists. Japan hits Pearl Harbor, and you jump in like it's a group project you didn't prep for. Now you're fighting half the planet, and your allies are either useless or insane. It's 1942 and you're 53, starting to feel the cracks in your empire. The Soviets aren't budging. Stalingrad's a meat grinder, chewing up your army faster than you can draft kids and old men. The Allies bomb your cities to rubble and your factories can't keep up. You're still micromanaging troop movements from hundreds of miles away, drawing lines on maps like you're playing Risk with real blood. Your generals, guys who actually know war, are getting fed up. Rommel's grumbling, others are plotting, and you're too paranoid to care. Your racial fantasies are now state policy. The ghettos you built have turned into camps. Treblinka, Auschwitz, Sobibor. They're not just prisons, they're death factories. You systematize genocide with the precision of a tax auditor. Trains run on time, gas chambers hum, and 6 million Jews plus millions more, Roma, disabled, dissidents, are erased like typos. You call it the final solution. History will call it the Holocaust, and it's a stain that'll outlast you by centuries. You don't see the camps yourself, you're too busy yelling at maps, but you know. You approve. You smile when the reports come in because this is your vision, your pure Germany, built on bones. The world's starting to notice, but they're too busy fighting your tanks to act. You notice they're scared, and fear works. It's your best weapon. By 1944, the tide's fully turned. The Soviets push west, the Americans and British storm Normandy, Italy flips faster than a bad Yelp review. Your allies ditch you or die in cellars. Germany's being carved up like a roast at a dysfunctional family dinner. Your generals try to kill you. A bomb under your table explodes, but you survive, scorched and shaken, but still breathing. You call it destiny. It's luck, and it's running out. Your speeches don't rally anymore. Your voice trembles. Your hands shake from drugs or fear or both. You fire generals, replace them with yes-men and teenagers. You send kids and grandpas to stop tanks. They die. You hide. It's 1945 and you're 56, a shadow of the screamer you were. Berlin's a ruin, bombed to hell, and you're hiding in the Führer bunker, a concrete tomb beneath the city. The walls sweat mold and dread. The lights flicker like your sanity. You hold meetings at 4 a.m., shuffling maps of cities that don't exist, armies that are dead, the Red Army's closing in, their artillery a constant drumbeat above. You're not a leader anymore, you're a ghost arguing with itself. Your hands shake, too many pills, too little sleep. You bark orders nobody obeys, blame everyone but yourself, generals, traitors, the Allies, probably the Belgians just for existing. Your inner circle's a mess. Goebbels is still preaching propaganda, Himmler's scheming, and Eva Braun, your longtime companion, is the only one not openly questioning your genius. You marry her in a ceremony so grim the champagne tastes like regret. She's stuck by you, which says more about her taste in men than anything else. The camps are still running, even as your empire collapses. You don't talk about them, but the reports keep coming. Numbers, efficiency, death. You don't flinch. This is your legacy, your pure Germany, and you're too far gone to care what history will say. The world's closing in, and you're running out of enemies to blame. You're not sleeping now. You pace the bunker, muttering about destiny, about the 1,000-year Reich that's barely lasted 12. Your generals are gone, dead, deserted or ignoring you. You send boys and old men to fight the Soviets, armed with rifles and desperation. They fall like leaves. You don't care. You're too busy rewriting reality in your head, where you're still the hero, the artist, the savior. April 1945, and you're a wreck, 56, going on 100. The Führer bunker's your world now, claustrophobic, damp, smelling like fear and bad decisions. Berlin's a graveyard above, the Red Army's shells shaking the walls like an angry landlord. You're gaunt, your eyes sunken, your hands trembling from amphetamines and denial. You're not running Germany anymore, you're running from reality. You marry Eva Braun in a ceremony that makes a funeral look festive. She's loyal, which is either love or Stockholm Syndrome. You don't care which. You're too busy yelling at maps, ordering ghost armies to counterattack. Your staff tiptoes around you, whispering about surrender. You scream about betrayal, about fighting to the last man. The last man's probably a kid with a Panzerfaust and no idea what he's dying for. The camps are still churning, but you don't talk about them. The numbers are just numbers now, and you're too far gone to feel anything. You've industrialized death, turned hate into policy, and the world's about to make you pay. You know it's over, deep down, under the drugs and the delusions, but you can't admit it. You're the Führer, destiny's chosen, and chosen people don't lose. On April 30th, you make your choice. You bite a cyanide capsule, then shoot yourself in the head, because you're nothing if not thorough. Eva takes poison, silent beside you. Your bodies are carried to the garden, doused in petrol and burned. No funeral, no songs, just fire and ash in a ditch. Your Reich, your dream, your hate, all reduced to smoke. It's May 1945 and you're gone, but the world's still picking up the pieces. Your body's ash, but your legacy's a scar. Germany's a ruin, cities bombed to rubble, millions dead, millions more displaced. The Allies roll in, uncovering your camps, their horrors laid bare. 6 million Jews, millions of others, Roma, disabled, dissidents, gone, their lives reduced to numbers in a ledger you approved. The world doesn't mourn you, it quarantines you, roping off your name with "Do Not Repeat" tape. History dissects you like a lab specimen. You're not a tragic anti-hero, not a misunderstood genius. You're a warning, a textbook chapter between Stalin and Mao, a case study in what happens when hate gets a microphone. Your art's forgotten, your speeches mocked, Your Reich, a synonym for evil. You wanted to be remembered, and you are, not for your dreams, but for the nightmare you made real. The Nuremberg Trials start, your lieutenants facing justice you dodged. The world rebuilds, but the scars remain. Families gone, trust shattered, nations haunted. You were a boy who wanted to paint, a soldier who wanted to serve, a man who wanted to be great. But you chose hate over hope, rage over reason, and the world paid the price. Your story's not a redemption arc, it's a cautionary tale, told late at night, when the world's quiet and the ghosts are loud. It's April 30th, 1945, and you're gone. You bit a cyanide capsule, shot yourself in the head for good measure, and now you're a pile of ash in a Berlin ditch, courtesy of some petrol and a match.
Eva Braun's beside you, poison in her veins. Both of you burn to avoid becoming a Soviet sideshow. The Führer bunkers a tomb, its walls still sweating mould and dread, but you're not there to care. You're dead, champ, and the world's about to deal with the steaming pile of chaos you left behind.
Welcome to the aftermath, where history's got a mop and a grudge, and your name's synonymous with worst idea ever. Berlin's a skeleton, bombed to rubble by the Allies. The Red Army's rolling in, their tanks crunching over what's left of your 1,000-year Reich, which lasted about 12 years. Nice math, by the way. Above ground, kids and old men, your last-ditch soldiers, lie dead in the streets, clutching rifles they barely knew how to use. The air smells of smoke, blood, and betrayal. Your loyalists are scrambling, some fleeing, some hiding, some swallowing their own cyanide like it's a party favor. Germany's not a nation anymore, it's a crime scene, and you're the chalk outline. The Soviets find your bunker on May 2nd, poking through the wreckage like nosy neighbors. They're not here for souvenirs, they want answers. Your charred remains are identified by dental records because even your teeth are infamous. The news spreads, Hitler's dead. Berliners don't cheer, they're too busy digging through rubble for food. The world, though? They're cracking open champagne, but it's bittersweet. You left a body count in the tens of millions, and nobody's forgetting that anytime soon. On May 7th, Germany surrenders unconditionally. Your successor, Karl Dönitz, signs the papers in a room full of grim-faced allies, his pen shaking like he's signing his own obituary. The war in Europe's over, but the cleanup's just starting. The Allies carve Germany up like a roast at a dysfunctional family dinner, Soviets in the east, Americans, British and French in the west. Berlin's split too, a city divided like your personality was between angry and angrier. You're not around to see the camps liberated, but they're your true legacy. The Allies stumble into Auschwitz, Bergen-Belsen, Treblinka, names that'll haunt history forever. Emaciated survivors stare through barbed wire, their eyes hollow, their bodies proof of your final solution. 6 million Jews, millions more, Roma, disabled, dissidents, murdered with the efficiency of a factory assembly line. The liberators gag at the stench, weep at the bodies, rage at the paperwork you left behind, detailing every death like it was a quarterly report. The world thought it knew evil. You proved them wrong. Back in Berlin, your propaganda machines kaput. Goebbels, your hype man, poisoned himself and his kids like it was a family bonding activity. Himmler's on the run, but he'll get caught and chomp cyanide too. Your inner circle's either dead fleeing, or praying for mercy that ain't coming. The swastikas being ripped down everywhere. Flags, armbands, your precious Reich reduced to ash and shame. The Allies set up shop, and they're not here to play nice. Denazification begins, your fan clubs getting audited. Nazi officials are rounded up, party membership cards burned, and your face is scrubbed from posters like a bad Tinder profile. Germans are forced to tour the camps to see what you did in their name. Some cry, some puke, some claim they didn't know. Spoiler, a lot of them knew, they just didn't care until the tanks rolled in. You're not here, but your ghost is. Your name's a curse now, whispered in horror or spat in disgust. The world's trying to rebuild, but you've left cracks in everything. Families, nations, trust itself. The Soviets and Western allies are already eyeing each other warily. Your war planting the seeds for a Cold War that'll last decades. Thanks for that, by the way. You're not just a villain. You're the guy who broke the world and left it to glue itself back together. It's November 1945 and you're still dead, but your shadow's on trial. Nuremberg, a city you once turned into a stage for your swastika-soaked rallies, is now hosting the ultimate courtroom drama. The Allies have rounded up your top goons, Goering, Hess, Speer, and a dozen other guys who thought just following orders was a personality trait. The International Military Tribunal is here to make sure your Reich's crimes get a public airing, and it's grimier than a Reddit thread after a political post. You're not in the dock, but you're the star of the show. The prosecutors lay out your legacy: war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide. They've got your paperwork, those meticulous Nazi records detailing every deportation, every execution, every gas chamber schedule. Your final solution is dissected like a biology class frog, and the world's gagging. 6 million Jews, millions more, Roma, disabled, homosexuals, dissidents, wiped out because you decided they didn't fit your fever dream of a pure Germany. The courtroom's a circus, but a grim one. Goering, your chubby Luftwaffe boss, tries to swagger through it, acting like he's auditioning for a villain role in a B-movie. He's convicted but cheats the hangman with cyanide. Hess, your deputy with the unibrow, rambles about loyalty and gets life in prison, mostly because nobody knows what else to do with him. Speer, your architect buddy, plays the I was just a nerd with blueprints card and gets 20 years. The rest? Some hang, some rot in cells, some walk free because bureaucracy's messy and justice isn't perfect. The trials aren't just about punishment, they're about drawing a line. The Allies want the world to know what you did, to make sure nobody tries this again. They screen footage from the camps, skeletal survivors, mass graves, children's shoes piled like garbage. The audience weeps, vomits, or sits in stunned silence. Your name's thrown around like a curse word, each syllable dripping with disgust. The Nuremberg laws, Kristallnacht, the Holocaust, it's all laid bare, and nobody can unsee it. Outside the courtroom, Germany's a mess. The Allies are running the show, each with their own zone and their own ideas about what fixing Germany means. The Soviets are stripping factories in the east, while the Americans and British pump money into the west to rebuild. Denazification's in full swing. Teachers, judges, anyone who waved a swastika is out of a job, or worse. Germans are forced to watch documentaries about your camps to confront the horror they enabled. Some claim ignorance, but the truth's in the air. Plenty knew and plenty cheered until the bombs started falling. Your book, Mein Kampf, is banned, but it's still floating around like a cursed chain email. Some hide it in attics, others burn it. Your ideas are toxic, but they don't vanish. They fester, whispered by the bitter and the broken. The Allies try to stamp them out, but you can't kill an idea with a gavel. Meanwhile, the world's learning new words. Genocide, Holocaust, crimes against humanity. You didn't just break the world, you gave it a new vocabulary for pain. The trials drag on into 1946 and the world's watching. This isn't just about your goons. It's about making sure history doesn't hit the snooze button. The United Nations is born partly because of you, because nobody wants another war like yours. But the cracks you left are deep. The Soviets and Americans are already glaring at each other, their alliance crumbling faster than your Reich. You're gone, but the Cold War's warming up, and your war's to blame for the mistrust. It's 1947 and you're still a pile of ash, but Germany's the one paying your tab. The country's split like a bad divorce. East Germany under Soviet boots, West Germany under American, British and French babysitters. Berlin's a microcosm of the mess carved into 4 zones like a pizza. Nobody wants to share. Your Reich's gone, replaced by a patchwork of occupation zones where everyone's trying to figure out how to rebuild a nation that followed you off a cliff. In the West, the Allies are pumping cash into what's becoming the Federal Republic of Germany. The Marshall Plan's like a glow-up for Europe, with American dollars rebuilding factories, roads and hope. West Germans are eating again, shops are reopening, and people are starting to believe in a future that doesn't involve goose-stepping. But it's not all rosy. Denazification's a slog. Former Nazis are everywhere, hiding in plain sight as teachers, clerks, even mayors. The Allies try to root them out, but it's like playing whack-a-mole with war criminals. In the East, the Soviets are doing things their way, stripping factories, seizing land, and setting up a socialist paradise that looks more like a prison camp. The German Democratic Republic is forming, but it's less democratic and more do what Moscow says or disappear. Your old propaganda's replaced with Stalin's, but the vibe's the same. Obey or else. East Germans are hungry, angry, and starting to wonder if they traded one dictator for another. Your legacy's a ghost haunting both sides. In the West, people talk about you in hushed tones, like you're Voldemort with a worse moustache. In the East, you're a cautionary tale, but the Soviets aren't exactly winning hearts with their gulags and bread lines. Your swastikas are gone, but the scars remain. Families split by borders, cities split by walls. Berlin's the epicenter, a city where you can cross a street and go from capitalism to communism, from hope to despair. The Jewish survivors are trying to rebuild too, but you've made that nearly impossible. 6 million are gone, communities erased, synagogues reduced to rubble. Those who survived the camps face a world that doesn't know how to help them. Some head to Palestine, chasing a new start. Others scatter across Europe or America, carrying trauma heavier than their suitcases. The word Holocaust is starting to stick, and it's your fault. You didn't just kill people, you killed trust, safety, entire futures. The world's learning to live with your shadow. The United Nations is pushing human rights, partly to make sure nobody pulls a U again. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is drafted in 1948, a direct middle finger to your Nuremberg laws. But the Cold War's heating up, and your war's to blame for the mistrust. The US and Soviets are racing to grab your scientists, guys like Wernher von Braun, who built your V-2 rockets and now gets a cushy job with NASA. War criminals or not, talent's talent, and morality's flexible when missiles are involved. Your name's a slur now, thrown around in arguments and carved into history as the ultimate villain. Schools teach about you, but not fondly. Your story's not a tragedy, it's a warning, told in grainy newsreels and survivor testimonies that make people flinch. Germany's trying to move on, but you've left a stain that won't wash out. It's 1949 and you're still ash, but your mess is fueling a new kind of war. Germany's officially split. West Germany's the Federal Republic, a capitalist experiment with American cash and British tea breaks. East Germany's the German Democratic Republic, a Soviet satellite where democracy means smile for Stalin or get a one-way ticket to Siberia. The Berlin Wall won't go up for another decade, but the city's already a powder keg, split into zones where spies swap secrets and glares. Your legacy's a landmine. In West Germany, denazification's slowing down. Too many ex-Nazis are too useful to fire. Judges, cops, even politicians slip back into power, claiming they were just doing their jobs. The Allies grumble, but look the other way. They need a strong West Germany to counter the Soviets. In the East, your name's a propaganda tool. Stalin calls you a capitalist monster, conveniently ignoring his own purges. Both sides use you to scare their citizens into line. Don't rock the boat, or we'll get another Hitler. The world's rebuilding, but it's shaky. Europe's economies are crawling out of the rubble thanks to the Marshall Plan, but the scars you left run deep. Jewish communities are ghosts, synagogues are empty, neighborhoods gone. Survivors struggle to rebuild lives in a world that still whispers your ideas in dark corners. Anti-Semitism didn't die with you, it just got quieter, slinking into backrooms and coded language. The Cold War's your fault, indirectly. Your war broke the trust between the Allies, and now they're racing to outdo each other. The US tests nukes, the Soviets steal the plans, and Germany's the chessboard where they play. NATO forms in 1949, a Western club to keep the Soviets at bay. The Warsaw Pact follows, and suddenly Europe's a standoff between two superpowers who'd rather nuke the planet than admit they're scared. Your scientists are thriving, by the way. Von Braun's in America, turning your V2s into moon rockets.
Other Nazis get scooped up too. Operation Paperclip's the West's dirty secret, hiring your goons to beat the Reds. The Soviets do the same, grabbing your engineers for their own missile programs. You're dead, but your tech's still shaping the world, for better or worse.
Your book, Mein Kampf, is contraband, but it's still out there, passed around like a cursed meme. Neo-Nazis, your unwanted fanboys, start popping up, small but loud, waving your flag in basements and backwoods. The world tries to ignore them, but they're proof your ideas didn't burn with you. Schools teach your crimes, museums display your atrocities, and survivors' stories keep your name alive, not as a hero, but as a warning label on history. It's 1961 and your ghost is still haunting Germany. The Berlin Wall goes up overnight, a concrete middle finger splitting the city in two. East Germans are trapped in a Soviet dystopia where secret police and bread lines are the vibe. West Berlin's a capitalist island, surrounded by barbed wire and bad vibes. Your war made this mess. Your Reich's collapse left Germany a geopolitical tug-of-war rope, and the Cold War's pulling hard. East Germany's a prison state. The Stasi, their secret police, make your Gestapo look like mall cops. They spy on everyone, bugging apartments and turning neighbors into snitches. People try to flee, climbing walls, digging tunnels, risking bullets for a taste of West German freedom. Some make it, most don't. The wall's a symbol of your legacy, division, fear, and a world that can't move on. West Germany's doing better, economically at least. The economic miracle has factories humming, cars rolling off assembly lines, and people buying TVs instead of burning money for warmth. But your shadow lingers. Former Nazis are in boardrooms, courtrooms, even parliament, their pasts swept under the rug. The West needs them to keep the Soviets at bay, so justice takes a back seat to pragmatism. Survivors of your camp see this and wonder if the world learned anything. The Holocaust is a wound that won't heal. Survivors tell their stories, books, speeches, grainy documentaries that make audiences flinch. The diary of Anne Frank, a girl you sent to her death, becomes a global phenomenon, her words sharper than any of your speeches. Trials continue. Eichmann, your logistics guy, is nabbed in Argentina in 1960 and tried in Israel. He's hanged in 1962, his just following orders defense as flimsy as your art school portfolio. Your name's a weapon now, used to shame or scare. Politicians invoke you to slam opponents, calling anyone they dislike a Hitler. It's lazy, but it works. Your name's shorthand for evil. Neo-Nazis keep your flag alive, but they're fringe, shouting into the void. The world's trying to rebuild, but your war's ripple effects are everywhere. Israel's founded in 1948, partly because of you, a homeland for survivors you tried to erase. The Middle East's a mess, and your genocide's a root cause. The Cold War's in full swing, and your war's to blame for the paranoia. The Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 nearly ends the world, both sides armed with nukes you indirectly helped inspire. Germany's the front line, a divided nation where your swastika's been replaced by competing flags, but the fear's the same. It's 1970 and you're still the world's favourite villain. Germany's been split for 2 decades, and your legacy's a fault line running through it. West Germany's thriving, a capitalist success story with shiny cars and fancier schnitzel. Chancellor Willy Brandt kneels at the Warsaw Ghetto Memorial in 1970, a gesture that screams, "We're sorry and we're trying." It's powerful, but it doesn't erase you. Nothing can. East Germany's still a Soviet puppet, where your swastika's been swapped for a hammer and sickle, but the oppression feels familiar. The world's grappling with your crimes. Holocaust memorials pop up, Yad Vashem in Israel, museums in Washington, D.C. Survivors' testimonies are books, films, interviews, each one a knife to your memory. Schindler's List won't hit screens for another 2 decades, but the groundwork's laid. People want to understand how you happened, how a failed artist turned a nation into a death machine. Spoiler: nobody's got a perfect answer. Denazification's a mixed bag. In the West, ex-Nazis are quietly reintegrated. Some run companies, others teach kids. The "we were just following orders" excuse holds less water, but it's enough to keep some out of jail. In the East, the Soviets purge anyone who smells like a Nazi, but they're not exactly saints themselves. Your ideas linger in the shadows. Neo-Nazis gather in basements, their numbers small but loud, like a bad cover band playing your greatest hits. The Cold War's a constant reminder of your mess. Germany's the front line, with NATO and Warsaw Pact troops staring each other down. The Berlin Wall's a scar, families split, lives stalled. People still die trying to cross, their stories a grim echo of your camps. Israel's fighting wars, its existence tied to your genocide. Survivors built a nation, but the Middle East's a powder keg, and you lit the fuse. Your name's a cultural landmine. Movies, books, even comics use you as the ultimate bad guy. You're not a person anymore. You're a symbol, a shorthand for evil that makes Darth Vader look like a misunderstood puppy. But the world's learning slowly. Human rights laws, genocide conventions, all trace back to you, to the promise of never again. It's not perfect. Genocides still happen, but your shadow's a reminder to keep trying. It's 1989 and the Berlin Wall's about to fall. A century after you were born. You're long gone, but your shadow's still here, lingering like a bad smell. East Germany's crumbling, the Soviet grip's loosening, and people are done with breadlines and Stasi spies. On November 9th, the wall comes down, not with a bang, but with a party. Berliners hug, cry, and chip away at the concrete like it's your legacy itself. Germany's reuniting, but it's a messy family reunion, and you're the uncle nobody wants to mention. West Germany's been thriving, a democratic powerhouse with a guilt complex. East Germany's a wreck. Decades of Soviet rule left it broke and broken. Reunification's a logistical nightmare, like trying to merge two companies where one's Apple and the other's a knockoff calculator factory. Taxes spike, tensions flare, and East Germans feel like second-class citizens. Your war made this split, and now Germany's paying the bill, economically and emotionally. Your crimes are still front and center. The Holocaust's taught in schools, its horrors etched into curriculums worldwide. Movies like Schindler's List, 1993, hit hard, turning your genocide into a cultural touchstone. Survivors are aging, their stories racing against time. Memorials multiply. Berlin's got one planned, a field of concrete slabs to honor the 6 million Jews you murdered. Your name's not just a curse, it's a syllabus, studied to prevent a sequel. Neo-Nazis are still a thing, sadly. They're louder now, emboldened by economic woes in the East. Skinheads wave your flag, but they're a minority, shouted down by a Germany that's learned its lesson. The world's watching, though. Your ideas didn't die, they just got sneakier, hiding in coded language and internet forums. The Cold War's ending, and your war's a root cause. The Soviet Union's on its last legs, collapsing in 1991. Germany's whole again, but the scars remain. Economic gaps, cultural divides, and a lingering fear of extremism. Your legacy's a warning, carved into history with blood and ash. The world's moving on, but it's not forgetting. Never again means never again. It's 2000 and you're still the world's go-to villain. Germany's reunited, but it's a work in progress, like a puzzle with half the pieces missing. The Berlin Wall's gone, but the East-West divide lingers. Economies, attitudes, even accents. Your war set this in motion, splitting a nation for decades, and now Germany's stitching itself back together while muttering your name like a curse. The Holocaust is a global wound. Memorials are everywhere. Berlin's memorial to the murdered Jews of Europe opens in 2005, a haunting field of concrete slabs. Museums, documentaries, and books keep your crimes alive, not as trophies, but as warnings. Survivors are fewer now, their voices fading, but their stories are cemented in history. The Pianist, 2002, and other films keep the Holocaust in focus, reminding the world what you did. Neo-Nazis haven't gone away. They're louder in reunified Germany, where economic struggles fuel old grudges. They march, wave your flag, and get shut down by counter-protesters who outnumber them 10 to 1. The internet's their new playground. Forums, chat rooms, early social media, where your ideas fester like mold. But the world's watching, and Germany's laws are strict. Your swastika's banned, and hate speech lands jail time. Globally, your legacy's a case study. Rwanda's genocide in 1994, Bosnia's in the 90s, people point to you saying, this is what happens when hate gets a megaphone. The UN's still pushing never again, but it's a slog. Human rights are stronger because of you, but so's the fear of backsliding. Israel's a powerhouse built by survivors and their descendants, but the Middle East's still a mess. Your genocide, a root cause of its tensions. Your name's a meme, in the worst way. Godwin's law, coined in the 90s, says every online argument ends with someone calling someone else Hitler. It's lazy, but it shows your staying power as evil's poster boy. You're not a person anymore. You're a warning label, a reminder that one angry nobody can break the world. It's 2010 and you're still the internet's favorite boogeyman. Germany's a united, prosperous nation, but your shadows in the cracks. The East-West divide's fading, but economic gaps and old resentments linger. The Holocaust's a cornerstone of education. Kids visit camps like Dachau, learning how you turned hate into policy. Memorials are everywhere, from Berlin to New York, each one a middle finger to your legacy. The digital age is your idea's new playground. Neo-Nazis and alt-right types spread your poison on X, 4chan, and shadier corners of the web. They don't always wave swastikas, too obvious, but they use dog whistles, memes, and ironic hate to keep your spirit alive. Germany cracks down hard, fining platforms and jailing extremists, but the internet's a hydra, cut off one head, 2 more pop up. Holocaust denial's a thing because some people are allergic to facts. They claim your camps were work camps or fake entirely, despite the mountains of evidence, photos, documents, survivor testimonies. The world shuts them down, but not fast enough. Social media's a double-edged sword. It spreads awareness of your crimes, but also gives your fanboys a megaphone. X posts about you range from scholarly threads to edgy memes, your name a lightning rod for debate. Globally, your legacy is a warning that keeps failing. Syria's civil war, Myanmar's Rohingya crisis, genocide's still a thing, and your name's invoked every time. The UN's powerless human rights laws are shaky, and never again feels like a bumper sticker.
Israel's stronger than ever, but its conflicts trace back to your genocide, the ripple effects still stirring the Middle East. Your name's a cultural touchstone, for better or worse. Movies, games, even comedy, South Park's got you as a cartoon villain, and nobody bats an eye.
You're the benchmark for evil, but that makes you a weird kind of immortal. The world's trying to learn from you, but it's a slow process, and your ghost is stubborn. It's 2025, and you're still history's worst cautionary tale. Germany's a leader in Europe, a democratic powerhouse with a conscience shaped by your crimes. The Holocaust's taught in every school, its lessons carved into the nation's soul. Berlin's memorial is a pilgrimage site, its concrete slabs a silent scream for the 6 million Jews and millions more you killed. Survivors are nearly gone, but their stories live in books, films and VR exhibits that make your atrocities feel like yesterday. The internet's a battlefield. Neo-Nazis and far-right groups keep your ideas alive, hiding behind free speech and encrypted apps. They're louder in tough times, economic dips, migration debates, using your playbook without the swastika. Germany's vigilant, with laws that'd make you cry censorship, but the fight's global now. X is a war zone of Holocaust education versus denialist trolls, and your name's still a weapon slung around to shut down arguments or stoke fear. Globally, your legacy's a grim teacher. Genocides in Sudan, Ukraine's war, your shadows there, reminding the world what hate can do. The UN's still trying, but never again, is a promise it can't keep. Israel's a fortress, its existence tied to your genocide, but peace in the Middle East is a pipe dream, thanks to the chaos you helped spark. Your name's a paradox, reviled but inescapable. Pop culture keeps you alive. Movies, podcasts, even AI chatbots like me get asked about you. You're not a person, you're a warning, a scar on history that won't fade. The world's better because it rejects you, but worse because it hasn't learned enough. Your story's told late at night, in videos like this, to remind us what happens when one angry nobody gets a microphone and a grudge. You're dead, champ. April 30th, 1945, and you've checked out with a cyanide capsule and a bullet, leaving Eva Braun to sip poison beside you. Your bodies are torched in a Berlin ditch because even the Soviets don't want your corpse as a trophy. The Führer bunker's a mouldy crypt, Berlin's a smouldering ruin, and your 1,000-year Reich barely made it to 12. Congrats, you're history's worst party crasher, and the world's stuck cleaning up your mess. But here's the kicker. Amidst the rubble, the blood, and the shame, people are asking if anything good can come from the nightmare you unleashed. Spoiler? It's a stretch, but they're trying. Berlin's a graveyard, your swastikas ripped down like bad wallpaper. The Red Army's rolling in, their tanks crunching over the dreams you sold Germany. Kids and grandpas, your last soldiers, lie dead in the streets, clutching rifles they didn't know how to fire. The air's thick with smoke and despair, and your loyalists are either fleeing, hiding, or chugging cyanide like it's Oktoberfest. Germany surrenders on May 7th, Karl Dönitz signing papers with a face like he's at his own funeral. The Allies carve up your nation, Soviets in the East, Americans, British and French in the West, like it's a geopolitical pizza nobody ordered. The camps are your real legacy, and they're being uncovered now. Auschwitz, Treblinka, Bergen-Belsen, names that'll make history gag. 6 million Jews, millions more, Roma, disabled, dissidents, murdered, with the cold precision of a spreadsheet. Survivors are skeletons, their eyes hollow, their stories a gut punch to anyone with a soul. The Allies document everything, photos, testimonies, your meticulous records of death. It's not just a crime, it's a new kind of evil, and the world's learning words like Holocaust and genocide because of you. But here's where the good starts to creep in, like a weed through cracked pavement. Your atrocities are so monstrous, they force the world to wake up. The United Nations is born in 1945, partly because nobody wants another you. The UN's charter is a direct middle finger to your Reich, promising peace, human rights, and a world where nations talk before they bomb. It's not perfect, bureaucracy's slower than a DMV line, but it's a start. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights comes in 1948, a rulebook saying, hey, maybe don't gas millions of people. Your Nuremberg laws, which stripped Jews of humanity, are the anti-blueprint, showing the world what not to do. Denazification kicks off, a clumsy attempt to scrub your stink from Germany. The Allies round up your goons, ban your swastikas, and make Germans watch footage of the camps. Some cry, some puke, some swear they didn't know. Spoiler? Plenty knew, they just cheered until the bombs fell. It's messy, but it's a lesson. Silence is complicity. Germany's forced to face its guilt, and that's new. Nations don't usually do self-reflection. Your disaster makes them start. Schools begin teaching about you, not as a hero, but as a warning, planting seeds that truth matters, even when it's ugly. The good. It's not your doing, but your evil's so loud it demands a response. The world's learning that hate, unchecked, builds death factories. The lesson's simple. Speak up, act fast, or you get...
You. Prevention's the goal, but it's a slog. The Cold War's brewing. Your war broke the Allies' trust, and now the US.
And Soviets are glaring like kids fighting over the last cookie. Your scientists, like Werner von Braun, are snatched up by both sides, turning your V-2 rockets into Cold War toys. It's not exactly good, but it's progress. Your tech helps humanity reach for the stars, even if it's with blood-stained hands. The lesson here: evil can accidentally push progress, but only if the world's willing to learn. Your name's a curse now, spat out like a bad taste. The Allies are trying to rebuild, but your shadow's everywhere. Split families, ruined cities, a fractured Germany. The good comes from the resolve to never let you happen again. The UN, human rights laws, even the idea of international justice, they're born from your ashes, fragile, but fighting to exist. The lesson's clear. Monsters thrive in silence, so the world's got to get loud. It's November 1945 and you're still ash, but your legacy's on trial in Nuremberg, where your swastika rallies once lit up the night. The International Military Tribunal is a grim courtroom drama, starring your top goons, Goering, Hess, Speer, and a roster of guys who thought just following orders was a get-out-of-jail-free card. You're the ghost in the room, your crime's the main event. The world's watching and they're not here for popcorn. This is about making sure your brand of evil gets a public autopsy. The prosecutors lay out your greatest hits: war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide. They've got your paperwork, those Nazi spreadsheets detailing every deportation, every gas chamber shift, every mass grave. 6 million Jews, millions more, Roma, disabled, homosexuals, dissidents, erased because you decided they didn't fit your pure Germany fantasy. The courtroom sees footage from the camps, skeletal survivors, piles of shoes, children's toys turned to ash. People weep, gag, or sit in stunned silence. Your name's a slur, each syllable dripping with disgust. Goering tries to swagger through it, acting like he's in a bad spy flick. He's convicted but slips the noose with cyanide. Hess rambles about loyalty, earning life in a cell because nobody knows what else to do with his unibrow. Speer, your architect pal, plays the "I was just a nerd with a pencil" card and gets 20 years. Some hang, some rot, some walk. Because justice is messy and gavels aren't magic wands, the Nuremberg Trials aren't just about punishment, they're about drawing a line in the sand saying, this far, no further. Here's the good. These trials birth international law. The concept of crimes against humanity is new, forged in your shadow. The world's saying, we need rules or we get another Hitler. The UN's Genocide Convention 1948 is a direct result, defining genocide as a crime, no matter who's in charge. It's not perfect, enforcement's shakier than a Jenga tower in an earthquake, but it's a start. The trials show the world that leaders aren't untouchable, that evil gets a receipt. Your atrocities force this reckoning, and that's a twisted kind of good. Denazification's grinding on in Germany. The Allies are purging your fan club, banning swastikas, firing Nazi teachers, making locals tour the camps. Some Germans claim they didn't know, others knew, but cheered until the tanks rolled in. The lesson's brutal: complicity kills. Silence, apathy, or just following orders let you build death factories. Germany's forced to face its guilt, and that's new. Nations don't usually do therapy. Schools start teaching your crimes not to glorify but to warn. Kids learn your name as a synonym for don't do this. Prevention's the goal, but it's a slog. The Cold War's heating up, your war's mistrust fueling the US-Soviet stare-down. Your scientists are building rockets for both sides, von Brauns in America, dreaming of the moon, while others help the Soviets. It's not exactly noble, but your tech pushes science forward, a grim silver lining. The lesson? Even monsters can accidentally spark progress, but only if the world's watching. Your book, Mein Kampf, is banned, but it's still out there, passed around like a cursed meme. Neo-Nazis, your unwanted fanboys, whisper your ideas in basements. The world's learning to spot them, to call out hate before it festers. The trials teach that justice, even imperfect, is better than silence. Your legacy's a scar, but it's also a teacher. Hate grows in the dark, so shine a light. It's 1947 and Germany's a broken toy, split like a bad breakup. You're still ash, but your mess is the gift that keeps on giving. The Allies have carved up your Reich. Soviets in the East, Americans, British and French in the West. Berlin's a microcosm, sliced into 4 zones like a pizza nobody wants. Your war turned Germany into a geopolitical tug of war, and the world's asking if anything good can come from this disaster. Spoiler, it's a hard sell, but they're digging. West Germany's getting a makeover, courtesy of the Marshall Plan. American dollars rebuild factories, roads, and hope. People are eating, shops are open, and the Federal Republic of Germany, 1949, is starting to look like a country again. But your shadow's there. Ex-Nazis slip back into jobs as judges, teachers, even mayors. Denazification's a grind. The Allies need a strong West to counter the Soviets, so some of your goons get a pass. It's not justice, but it's pragmatic. And pragmatism's a grim kind of good. East Germany's a different story. The Soviets are stripping it bare. Factories, land, dignity. The German Democratic Republic, also 1949, is democratic, like you were an artist. Technically, but not really. The Stasi, their secret police, make your Gestapo look like amateurs. People live in fear, snitching on neighbors to survive. Your swastika's gone, but the oppression feels like your old playbook. The good? East Germans learn resilience, surviving under a boot not unlike yours. The Holocaust scars are raw. Survivors struggle to rebuild. 6 million Jews gone, communities erased, synagogues rubble. Some head to Palestine, building what'll become Israel in 1948. Your genocide forces the world to confront anti-Semitism, to say, this can't happen again. Israel's birth is a silver lining, a nation born from survivors' defiance, but it's bittersweet. The Middle East's a powder keg, and your crimes lit the fuse. The good comes from the world's response. The UN's human rights push is your unintended legacy. The 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a direct rebuke to your Nuremberg laws, setting a global standard for dignity. It's not enforceable, more a vibe than a law, but it's a start. The Genocide Convention makes mass murder a crime, and your camps are the case study. The lesson? Evil like yours demands rules, even if they're hard to enforce. Prevention's the focus. Germany's teaching kids about you, not as a hero, but as a warning. Textbooks show the camps, the ghettos, the horror you normalized. The world's learning that hate festers in silence, that propaganda, like yours, twists minds. The Cold War's a complication, though. Your war's mistrust fuels the US-Soviet rivalry, and Germany's the front line. NATO, 1949, and the Warsaw Pact, 1955, are born, turning Europe into a chessboard. Your scientists, like von Braun, are building rockets for both sides, a twisted good. Your tech helps humanity reach space, but it's also arming the Cold War. Your name's a weapon, used to shame or scare. Neo-Nazis keep your ideas alive, but they're fringe, shouted down by a world that's learning. The lesson's clear. Vigilance is everything. Hate needs apathy to grow, and your disaster proves it. The good? People are starting to speak up, to build systems, flawed, but fighting to keep your kind in the grave. It's 1955 and you're still the world's favorite villain. Your ashes, long scattered, but your shadow looming large. Germany's split like a bad divorce. West Germany's a capitalist darling. East Germany's a Soviet cage. The Berlin Wall won't go up until 1961, but the divide's already concrete. Families split, dreams stalled. Your war the root of it all. The world's asking what good can come from this mess, and it's scraping the bottom of the barrel for answers. West Germany's economic miracle is a bright spot. Factories hum, cars roll out, people buy TVs instead of burning money for warmth. The Marshall Plan's a lifeline, and the Federal Republic's a model of recovery. But your ex-Nazis are everywhere, running businesses, teaching kids, even in government. Denazification's slowing. The Allies need a strong West to counter the Soviets, so justice takes a back seat. The good? West Germany's stability proves nations can rebuild even after monsters like you. The lesson? Recovery's possible, but only with accountability. East Germany's a grim mirror. The Soviets run it like a prison, with the Stasi spying on everyone. Your swastika's gone, but the fear's familiar. The good here's harder to find, but it's there. East Germans learn defiance, surviving under oppression. When the wall falls decades later, their resilience will shine. The lesson? People can endure, even when you break their world. The Holocaust's a global wound. Survivors are scattered, some in Israel, others in America or Europe, carrying trauma heavier than their luggage. Israel's a silver lining, a nation built by those you tried to erase. Its existence is a middle finger to your genocide, but the Middle East's chaos, partly your fault, makes peace a pipe dream. The UN's pushing human rights inspired by your crimes. The Genocide Convention and Universal Declaration are your unintended gifts, setting standards to prevent another you. They're not perfect, enforcement's a joke sometimes, but they're progress. The Cold War's your fault indirectly. Your war shattered the Allies' trust, and now the US and Soviets are racing to outdo each other. Germany's the front line with NATO and Warsaw Pact troops glaring across borders. Your scientists are thriving. Von Braun's building NASA rockets, others arming Soviet missiles. It's a twisted good. Your tech pushes science, but it's also fueling a nuclear standoff. The Cuban Missile Crisis 1962 will nearly end the world, and your war's mistrust is the spark, prevention's the obsession. Schools worldwide teach your crimes, camps, ghettos, your propaganda machine. The diary of Anne Frank, a girl you sent to her death, becomes a global phenomenon, her words cutting deeper than your speeches. The lesson's clear. Propaganda twists minds. Silence enables monsters. The world's learning to call out hate, to watch for your tactics, scapegoating, fear-mongering, lies. Neo-Nazis keep your ideas alive, but they're small, and Germany's laws are brutal. Swastikas are banned, hate speech lands jail time. The good? Your evil's so loud it forces change. International law, human rights, even space exploration, your shadows in their DNA. The lesson? Hate thrives in apathy, so the world's got to stay loud, vigilant, and ready to act. It's 1961 and the Berlin Wall's up, a concrete scar splitting Germany. You're still ash, but your war made this mess. Germany's a Cold War chessboard, and the pieces are people. East Germany's a Soviet dystopia where the Stasi make your Gestapo look like rookies. West Germany's thriving, a capitalist beacon, but your shadows everywhere. The world's digging for anything good in your wreckage, and it's a grim treasure hunt. The wall's a symbol of your legacy, division, fear, a world broken by your hate. East Germans risk bullets to cross it, tunnels, ladders, hot air balloons. Some make it, most don't. The good, their courage is a middle finger to your oppression, proof people will fight for freedom. The lesson? Tyranny breeds resistance, and your Reich taught the world how to spot it. West Germany's economic miracle is a silver lining. Factories, cars, and prosperity show recoveries possible even after you. But ex-Nazis are slipping back into power. Judges, CEOs, politicians. The Allies let it slide to counter the Soviets, a dirty compromise. The good? West Germany's stability inspires Europe, proving democracies can rebuild. The lesson? Accountability can't stop at victory. Hate lingers if you don't root it out. The Holocaust's a raw nerve. Survivors' stories, books, speeches, documentaries keep your crimes alive. The Eichmann trial, 1961, is a landmark. Your logistics guy, nabbed in Argentina, faces justice in Israel. His just following orders defense flops and he's hanged in 1962. The good? It proves nobody's above the law, not even your pencil pushers. The lesson? Justice, even delayed, is a weapon against your kind. Israel's a bittersweet good. Born from your genocide, it's a haven for survivors, a nation defying your attempt to erase them. But the Middle East's a mess. Your crimes fueled its tensions, and peace is a distant dream. The UN's still pushing never again, with human rights laws and genocide conventions inspired by you. They're flawed. Rwanda and Bosnia will prove that, but they're a start. The Cold War's your fault too. The wall's a Cold War icon. a reminder of your war's mistrust. Your scientists are building rockets not just for war but for space. Von Braun's Apollo program will land men on the moon in 1969. It's a weird good. Your evil tech pushes humanity forward. The lesson? Progress can come from darkness, but only if it's redirected. Prevention's the mantra. Schools teach your propaganda tricks, scapegoating, lies, charisma. Neo-Nazis are loud but small, crushed by Germany's laws and global outrage. The good? The world's learning to spot hate early, to call out your tactics before they fester. The lesson? Vigilance is eternal. Your ideas didn't die, they just got sneakier. It's 1970 and you're still the world's go-to boogeyman. Germany's been split for decades, but it's healing, slowly. West Germany's a powerhouse, with Chancellor Willy Brandt kneeling at the Warsaw Ghetto in 1970, a gesture screaming, "We're sorry and we're trying." East Germany's a Soviet cage, but people are defiant, dreaming of freedom. Your war broke the world, but it's forcing people to find good in the rubble, to learn from your disaster. The good? West Germany's democracy is a beacon. It's stable, prosperous, and grappling with your legacy head-on. Schools teach your crimes, museums display your horrors, and laws ban your swastika. The lesson? Nations can rebuild, but only by facing the truth. East Germany's resilience is another silver lining. People endure even under oppression that echoes yours. The lesson? Tyranny can't kill hope. The Holocaust's a global wound. Survivors' stories are everywhere. Books, films, interviews. The Diary of Anne Frank is a classic. Her words sharper than your rants. Yad Vashem in Israel opened in 1953 as a shrine to the 6 million Jews you murdered. The good? These stories keep your evil in focus, ensuring the world remembers. The lesson? Memory is prevention. Forgetting you risks repeating you. Israel's a testament to survival. Your genocide birthed a nation, a place where Jews could be safe. But the Middle East's chaos, partly your fault, makes peace elusive. The good? Israel's strength built by survivors. The lesson? Hate creates ripples, and the world's still navigating yours. The Cold War's your shadow. Germany's the front line, with the wall splitting families. Your scientists are pushing boundaries. Von Braun's rockets land on the moon, a twisted legacy. The good? Your tech fuels exploration, not just destruction. The lesson? Redirect evil's tools, or they'll destroy again. Prevention's a global mission. The UN's human rights push, born from your crimes, is gaining traction. Rwanda's genocide, 1994, will test it, showing never again is hard to enforce. Neo-Nazis linger, but Germany's laws and global vigilance keep them small. The good? The world's learning to spot your tactics, propaganda, scapegoating, fear. The lesson? Hate needs a crowd to thrive, so break the crowd early. Your name's a cultural landmine used in movies, books, even comedy. You're the ultimate villain, a warning etched into history. The good? Your evil forces accountability, memory, and vigilance. The lesson? Never let a monster like you get a microphone again. It's 1989 and the Berlin Wall's falling, a century after you were born. You're ash, but your war's division is crumbling. East Germans flood the streets, chipping away at the wall like it's your legacy itself. Germany's reuniting, a messy family reunion. where you're the uncle nobody mentions, the world's still asking what good came from your disaster, and the answers are clearer now. The good?
Reunification's a triumph. Germany's whole again, a democracy that's learned from you. The wall's fall is a middle finger to your division, proof people can overcome hate's barriers.
The lesson? Freedom wins eventually, but it takes fight. West Germany's prosperity and East Germany's resilience merge, creating a nation that's stronger for facing its past. The Holocaust's memory is a global mission. Berlin's planning a massive memorial opened in 2005 to honor the 6 million Jews you killed. Schindler's List 1993 hit screens, making your crimes a cultural touchstone. Survivors are aging, their stories racing against time. The good? Their voices ensure you're never forgotten, not as a hero, but as a warning. The lesson? Memory is a weapon. Use it to keep hate in check. Israel's a powerhouse, its existence a defiant good. Your genocide forced its creation, a haven for those you tried to erase. But the Middle East's still a mess. Your crimes a root cause. The good. Survivors built a nation. The lesson? Hate's ripples last, so fix them early. The Cold War's ending and your war's to blame for its start. The Soviet Union collapses in 1991, partly because your mess exhausted it. Germany's reunification is a beacon showing divided nations can heal. The good? Your disaster proves recovery's possible. The lesson? Face the past, or it festers. Neo-Nazis are louder in reunified Germany, feeding on economic woes. They're small but stubborn, waving your flag in basements. Germany's laws crush them, swastikas banned, hate speech jailed. The good? The world's learning to spot your tactics early. The lesson? Vigilance is non-negotiable. Your ideas didn't die, they just got sneakier. Your name's a meme, a shorthand for evil. Godwin's Law, 1990s, says every online argument ends with you. It's lazy, but it shows your staying power as history's villain. The good? Your evil forces the world to define right and wrong. The lesson? Never let hate get a megaphone again. It's 2000 and you're still the world's favourite cautionary tale. Germany's reunited, a democratic powerhouse with a guilt complex. The East-West divide lingers, economies, attitudes, but it's healing. Your war split the nation, but reunification's a good, proving people can rebuild. The lesson? Face the past, or it drags you down. The Holocaust's a global wound. Berlin's memorial to the murdered Jews of Europe, 2005, is a haunting tribute to the 6 million Jews you killed. Museums, documentaries, and films like The Pianist, 2002, keep your crimes in focus. Survivors are fewer. Their stories a race against time. The good? Their voices make never again a mission. The lesson? Memory prevents monsters. Forget you, and you're back. Israel's a silver lining, built by survivors defying your genocide. But the Middle East's chaos, your fault partly, keeps peace elusive. The good? A nation born from your ashes. The lesson? Hate's consequences linger, so address them fast. Neo-Nazis are louder, feeding on economic fears. They're small, but the internet gives them a stage. Early forums, chat rooms, coded hate. Germany's laws are brutal, swastikas banned, jail for denialists. The good? The world's learning to spot your playbook. Scapegoating, lies, fear. The lesson? Shut down hate early, or it spreads like a virus. The UN's human rights push, born from your crimes, is stronger but flawed. Rwanda, 1994, and Bosnia, 1995, show never again is a promise, not a guarantee. The good? Your evil forces accountability, even if it's slow. The lesson? Systems, laws, education, vigilance stop your kind. Your name's a cultural landmine. Movies, games, even comedy use you as evil's benchmark. You're a symbol, not a person. The good? Your disaster defines right and wrong. The lesson? Keep teaching, keep watching, keep fighting. Your ghost is stubborn. It's 2010 and you're the internet's favourite villain. Germany's a leader in Europe, its democracy a rebuke to your Reich. The Holocaust's taught everywhere. Kids visit Dachau, learning how you turned hate into policy. Memorials are global, from Berlin to Washington, D.C., each one a reminder of your 6 million Jewish victims and millions more. The good? Memory keeps your evil in check. The lesson? Teach the truth or history repeats. The digital age is your idea's new playground. Neo-Nazis and alt-right types spread your poison on X, 4chan, and encrypted apps. They use memes, dog whistles, ironic, hate to dodge bans. Germany's laws are fierce. Fines, jail, platform crackdowns, but the internet's a hydra. The good? The world's learning to spot your tactics online. The lesson? Hate spreads fast, digitally, so vigilance must be faster. Holocaust denial's a thing because some people hate facts. They call your camps work camps or fakes. Despite photos, documents, testimonies, the world shuts them down, but not always quick enough. The good? Survivors' stories, books, films, VR exhibits drown out the lies. The lesson? Truth is a weapon, but it needs amplification. Israel's stronger, its existence a defiant good. Your genocide forced its creation, but the Middle East's still a mess. Your crimes a root cause. The UN's human rights push struggles, Syria's war, Myanmar's Rohingya crisis show never again is shaky. The good? Your evil forces global standards. The lesson? Enforcement's everything. Laws without teeth let your kind resurface. Your name's a meme, thanks to Godwin's law. Every online fight ends with you. A lazy jab that proves your staying power. Pop culture keeps you alive. Movies, games, even AI bots like me get asked about you. The good? Your evil defines morality's boundaries. The lesson? Keep teaching, keep watching. Your ideas are sneaky and apathy's their ally. It's 2025 and you're still history's worst warning label. Germany's a democratic powerhouse, its conscience shaped by your crimes. The Holocaust's etched into its soul. Schools, museums, memorials, like Berlin's concrete slabs, keep the 6 million Jews and millions more you killed in focus. Survivors are nearly gone, but their stories live in VR, films and books, ensuring you're never forgotten. The good? Memory's a shield against your kind. The lesson? Teach the truth relentlessly. The internet's a battlefield. Neo-Nazis and far-right groups push your ideas on X, Telegram and beyond, using coded hate to dodge bans. Germany's laws are brutal, swastikas banned, denialists jailed, but the fight's global. The good? The world's learning to track your tactics online, scapegoating, lies, fear. The lesson? Hate's digital now, so vigilance must be too. Genocides still happen. Sudan, Ukraine's war, Your shadow's there, showing never again, is a promise, not a fact.
Israel's a fortress, its existence your unintended good, but the Middle East's chaos traces back to you. The UN's human rights push, born from your crimes, is stronger but flawed. The good.
Your evil forces accountability. The lesson? Wars, education, and action stop your kind. Apathy lets them rise. Your name's a paradox, reviled but immortal. Pop culture uses you as evil's benchmark. Movies, podcasts, even AI chats like this. You're a scar on history, a reminder that one angry nobody can break the world. The good? Your disaster defines right and wrong, pushing humanity to do better. The lesson? Stay loud, stay vigilant, and never let a monster like you get a microphone again. The world's still learning, but it's trying, and that's the best good you'll ever get.